What's up everyone? Welcome back to ATS Funded. This is your Monday Insight for the 1st of March 2026. So today together we are going to break down interesting topics like imbalance trading. So what it is, three core type of imbalance trading and how to spot them, and how actually traders used to find probability entries using imbalance trading. So if you ever taken a trade and watched price just rip through your level without zero hesitation, or even seeing the price come back to a random zone and bounce perfectly, the chances are pretty much that imbalance was involved. So imbalance trading isn't just about guessing direction, it's about reading where one side overwhelms the other and where price is likely to come back to finish the job. What is an imbalance, guys? So before we look at the three types, let's define what really an imbalance actually is. So an imbalance happens when price moves very aggressively in just one direction, so fast that it doesn't give the other side a chance to fill the orders at a fair value. So that's leave behind, of course, an efficiency in the market. We can call that a gap, an area where a business was left unfinished. So the question that we need to ask ourselves is, why does it matter? Because the market tends to revisit those areas 90% of the time. Not always, again, but often enough to give a traders as a framework to work with. So if price sprints from point A to point B without even stopping, there's a good chance, a good probability it come back to fill some of the space before continuing, or probably reversing. So that's the core idea of imbalance trading. Now let's get into the three main types of imbalance that you need to know. So these are the three types of imbalances we're going to cover today. We start with the number one, the fair value gap, or the FVG, normally spoken about, is a three candle formation. You have a candle before, a very large expansion candle in the middle, and a candle after these two candles. So the gap between the wick of the candle one and the wick of the candle three, that's your failure value gap. It shows you where the price moved too fast and left an efficiency behind. Those gaps often get revisited, of course, and that's where traders look for entries on the retracement. So now let's move to the second, the number two, the volume imbalances. A volume imbalance is pure one-sided aggression. That's it. This happens when buyers flood the ask or sellers hammer the bid, and you get a gap between the closing of the one candle and the open of the next. So it's not a weak overlap, a clean gap between the bodies. And this tells you where real conventions enter the market, when the real movement gonna start, when one side completely dominated. And just like the fair value gap, the price often snaps back to those areas. So now the opening gaps, the number three, we can describe the opening gaps when the market reopen on fresh information. So the Friday close to the Sunday open, the Monday close to the Tuesday open, for example. Any session gap counts. So that space between the prior close and the new open is an imbalance, and it's one that traders watch closely. So these gaps can act as a magnet for price, especially early in the session. So each of the three, repeating for you, the volume imbalance, the fair value gaps, and now we cover the opening gaps, each of these three can give us an area, a zone that is worth watching and potentially trading as well. So the key is to understand which one you're looking at and how to act on it. So now let's get into how to trade them. Spotting the imbalance is only half of the job. How you enter matters just as much. So there's no single right way to do this, but there are three common approaches: full fill entries, partial fill entries, and aggressive entries. Now we're going to cover the three of them. The full fill entry. So some traders, of course, wait for the price to completely fill the imbalance before entering in a position. This, of course, gives you the best price, but you're going to risk price reversing before it reaches your entry. So you might miss the entire move completely. Then there's the partial fill entries. So other traders enter just to one price fill about 50% of the gap, sometimes called the consequent encroachment or the midpoint. The partial fill entry is a balanced approach because you get a decent entry without needing the full retrace of the movement. And now covering the aggressive entries, of course, we know that there are traders who enter as soon as possible, as soon as the price taps the edge of the imbalance. You get in early, very early, but the risk is that the imbalance isn't fully respected and you get stopped out. So none of these strategies is better than the other. It depends entirely on your risk tolerance, your trading plan, and how you manage the position once you are in. So the important thing, of course, is that you have a rule for it and you stick to it, like everything in trading. When does imbalance trading really work? We need to understand when everything aligns. Imbalance trading works when everything aligns. So you want to see a clear imbalance, whether it's an FVG, a fair value gap, or a volume imbalance, or an opening gap. You want a structure working in your favor. You need a structure working in your favor, meaning that the higher time frame bias support the direction you're trading. You want tight, you want defined risk, a stop that makes sense structurally, not just a random numbers. You want to need an exit plan and a target based on the exit liquidity or the opposite zone. So when all of four things line up, that's a high probability setup, and we need high probability setup. That's how some traders clear their funded evaluation in just a single trade. Not because they got lucky, I don't believe in luck in trading, but because the setup was clean and they had the conviction to take that trade. So this is the part where most traders fall short. They find imbalance, but they ignore the context. Or they have the context but no plan for risk. Every piece matter, guys. So imbalance trading isn't just about reading what's happened between the candles. It's not magic, it's logic, it's structure. And it's sometimes any trading can learn with the right framework. If you find this useful, make sure you check your email. We've sent over a more detailed written breakdown of everything we covered today. And if you want to keep building your edge, subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss the next model. Now, if you've been studying, backtesting, and you feel ready to prove your execution skills, stop risking your own personal capital and get funded with ATS. The link is in the description, and see you at the next one. Take care.